Hey, thanks for dropping by. Can't Let Her Die DIY. You found this video, you found this channel, you must have a mini excavator that needs maintenance, do you? That's what this is, a KX91-3SS. It's a Super Series Kubota mini excavators. It's a beautiful machine. I love it. I can't let this die. No way. I use it all summer long, and I gotta get the maintenance down so I have no breakdowns during the growing season and the busy season. Same as you. What are we going to do? First thing, most important thing, the final drive oil. The fluid inside the final drive of the track right here. Check it out. We got to get these plugs off, and we got to change the fluid in there. Most important thing. We don't want the drive to break down. We're tightening the tracks. These are rubber tracks. They loosen up a little bit. We're tightening them right here. We're going to adjust the idler right here with the grease gun. We're going to tighten these tracks on both sides. Yeah, you heard it here first. We're going into the air cleaner, the air breather. We're pulling that apart, the air filter. We're cleaning that out. Don't need a new one, just need to clean it. I'll show you how to do that. We're also going to be changing the oil, of course, right there. Oil input and the oil filter down in there. I'll show you where that is. I'll show you what type of oil filter, the whole 9 yards. And here's something no one ever does. We're changing the fuel filter right here in front of you. We're pulling that off. We're going to talk about that and all this maintenance issues. Don't miss this one. This is a great one. Go get your tools. Go throw on your old clothes. Meet me back here in 5 minutes. Bring my video and we'll go at your mini excavator. Let's do it. Let's get her done. You got this. You do. Okay, what we need to do is change our final drive oil. That's the oil that's in here, the final drive of this track. So I've orientated the sprocket so that I have one drain plug at the bottom. Now this plug here becomes my sight plug, and this becomes my fill plug. First I'll drain it out here, then I'll put the plug back in, fill it in there until it starts leaking out here. So that is right halfway, right? Just a bit over half, so that's what they want in there. It works out to be about 600 milliliters or 60% of your container. So you have a little bit extra if you want to flush it a little bit and then put it in there to get out the old oil and that sort of stuff. So the hardest thing about these things have a tendency to seize on. There's mud in there, so so I've been hitting it with PB Blaster. Last night, I probably hit it about 8 times now and cleaned it up, and I'm preparing to see if I can get these things loose. You may not get them all loose. They may be seized on there. And I'll tell you what to do if that's your situation. Right? Real world situation quite often doesn't work perfectly, as you know. Also give them a little tap just to jar them loose. Just to break any remaining bonds, rust bonds that would have on those threads and allow the PB Blaster to get in there. I think we're ready to give it a try. Let's do it. So going left, counterclockwise with your 5/16 Allen wrench on a socket like that, 5/16. This is a 1.5 foot leverage bar. Oh, see that? You're not getting that with a normal Allen wrench. You're going to need some leverage on there. So we got that loose. That is super. We're in business. Next important one is this one. The PB Blaster's really working good. Am I going to go 3 for 3? That is too good to be true. Oh, 3 for 3. And you know what? It may be because I jarred it with this. It may be because I've been hitting it with PB Blaster for like 8 times over the last 24 hours. And the other thing I did was I put PB Blaster in there and then I shot air all around here, compressed air, so I could drive that PB Blaster right in there if it's having problems, because it could be mud internally in there, stopping that PB Blaster from using capillary action to go down through the threads and loosen up all the rust bonds. Anyway, you may not be able to get 1 or 2 of these off, and I'll show you what to do. Because my other side, I'm having problems. And I'll show you what to do in that situation. This is starting to slip on the inside there. This one has already been slipped. The dealership did that to me. They could not get that off. And they kind of stripped that, as you can see. And I don't have good grip on that. Look, she's pretty much rounded. This one we got off. And what we can do, and this may be your situation, so it's kind of good that this happens, because most of the internet, they don't show you this. Now the workaround here, this one is seized, this one is stripped internally. This one we can get off, so I rotated this to be my drain plug. And that's a real world situation. Sometimes this happens, depending on how old your excavator is and that sort of thing. So we're going to drain it out of here, then we're going to rotate this to the upper position, and we're going to use it as a fill plug as well. But this is working perfectly. We're good to go. Let's proceed. These are finger loose. Right as soon as you break them free, that tells me my threads are good. Really good. Okay. Wow, that was surprising. That's why you have your drain pan right there. And we will get this going like that. It is black, it is dirty, and it needs to be changed. And that was quite a little explosion of air in there. So it's a good seal, there's no leaking. You could tell that there had been some air in there, and it kind of popped a little bit. That's black. And it is in need of change. And there's a lot in there. So we didn't drain it. It doesn't look like there's any water in there. I don't think there could be, because the air could not escape. Just being hot in there built up the air or whatever. It usually doesn't pop like that, but this time it did. So it's good that we caught that on camera. Maybe you want to make sure you got eye protection. Next time I will have eye protection. Okay, let's loosen up the drain plug where we're supposed to be draining it out of the drain plug. So there seems to be a lot of this stuff in there. Too much, really. It's not supposed to be draining from there. It's supposed to be only up to this level. But I guess too much is better than not enough. There should be no pressure because the pressure's already been released. There we go. If there was water in there, you'd see little schemes separating out from the oil. You got this. Yes, you do. Okay, while you're waiting for all the oil to drain out of the drain plug there, why don't you treat your drain plugs? There's an O-ring on each one of these, so I cleaned it up with a rag, and then I took a couple drops of the gear oil here, 80W90, and just put it around, treated that O-ring on all three of those plugs. I shot a little bit of the new stuff, new oil in there, give it a little bit of a flush. I'm going to put the drain plug back in. And if they're going in nice and easy like that, then you've really done a good job cleaning the threads. It's just like any other drain plug. Get it snug. Right. So you can see, get in there like that, and then maybe a quarter of a turn after it snugs up, just to get it nice and tight. And then clean it up so we can see if it leaks, but it's not under pressure, so there's not a lot of leaking potential here. So now we can put our 80W90 back in. We are looking to fill this up until it gets to that level. That is the port right there. Once it starts coming out there, we are good. We are good to go. And squeeze. And inject that 80W90 high performance gear oil directly into the final drive. When I bought this machine, I asked him what goes on these machines, what should I have to, and he said they're pretty darn good. Nothing really goes on them except the final the drives on the tracks here, the final drives, because people don't change the final drive oil often enough. Some people never do. So get in there and change these once a year, or according to your manufacturer's maintenance schedule for your machine. I like to do it once a year. I don't use it that much, but You may have to do it more than that, depending on how much you use it. Anyway, she's going in pretty good. Oh, and they're starting to come out. See there, folks? Starting to come out here. That's the right level. We can stop right there. How much do we put in there? 630 milliliters for 63% of your container, roughly. So those threads are really in good shape. We love it. And we'll put our final plug in right here. Our fill plug. That goes in easily, so those threads are really good, and we'll tighten them up, snug them up so they don't leak. You got this. You do. You got it. Most important thing you could do, in my opinion, my humble opinion. Okay, since we're right here, let's tighten up the tracks. As you can see, I got the excavator raised, and if you look in here, you can judge the tightness of the tracks here. Look right in here. You see, I got about, this is the middle roller. That's in good shape. We got about an inch and a quarter in between here, and it should be half an inch. That's the standard. You should check your manual, but usually the width of your finger. I got 2 fingers in there, so we can tighten this track up. If it gets too loose, like it is, starts to get loose, you'll slip a track. The track will come off just like your chain used to come off on your bicycle. And you put it back on the same way. But we want to prevent that situation from happening, so we're going to tighten this up every year. All right, because your rubber tracks and steel tracks, they stretch a little bit and that sort of stuff. So good to do this at the start of the year, start of the season. Make sure they're right on. It'll save you a breakdown later on. So how you tighten them? Good question. Right here, this is a little flap that covers a grease fitting. And the idler wheel pushes out under grease pressure. You'll see it. So we can apply grease in here, pushing out on the idler wheel, tightening up this track. I got a video where I changed some of the rollers here, and it goes into a lot more detail. But you probably just need to tighten up your track. It's very easy. You got this. And this is probably one of the coolest things you'll do with your excavator. Now with your 14 millimeter, get on there and my 14 millimeter nut is no longer 14 millimeters. Tighten it. I can feel it slipping in there. It's starting to get rounded a little bit. It's not a problem. It actually makes for a better video because this is real world. And sometimes these start to become rounded or seized. You can hit the heat with it. I tapped it with a hammer just to loosen, but it's still that way. I can hit PB plaster with it for a day or two, but if you don't have time on this, you can just do this. If you got a punch, you can just kind of slide this around without even loosening that. Well, and that's the workaround for that. And there's your grease fitting right there. And on the other side is, I believe it's a 1/7 of an inch. If you want it to loosen the track, you unscrew that and all the grease will pull out of it. The idler wheel will retract and it will loosen your track. We don't want to loosen it. We want to tighten it. So all we need to do is leave it tight, pump in some grease. As simple as that, really. You got this. I'll get my grease gun. Now I try to use quality grease whenever I can. This is heavy Valvoline, heavy duty grease applications. It's for mining, industrial, construction, steel mill, so big heavy equipment. But just for this situation, that's ideal. But whatever grease you have around will work for this. Universal grease will work as well. Sometimes I put that in there, but I try to buy the better stuff. Okay, you see that? That was one pump, and this came up about 1/4 of an inch. Now you watch that right there and right in here. Right? Now I'm going to pump it again. Second pump, third pump, fourth. See that going up? 5, 6, 7. Okay, let's get a measurement on that. Yeah, we're right there. That is it. 7 pumps. That's how much it slacked off over the winter, over one year's use. If you do it too tight, it'll wear out your track. Too loose, your track will fall off. And that's it, folks. That's all there is to it. And now we got our workaround here with a BFH. And you know what? That might be the easiest way. Can't let her die, DIY. Well, all kinds of workarounds here. Nothing ever goes as per plan. Sometimes you take the hammer to it. Okay, we got the final drive fluid change on both sides, and we tightened both the tracks up. We're moving up. We're starting at the bottom, moving up. So the next thing we're going to do is drain the engine oil, replace the filter, take the filter off, put a new filter on, oil filter, and new oil. So come around here. I've orientated the excavator so the back end is hanging off the side here, so I can get it exposes the drain plug a lot easier. My pan sits here. It's not in the way of the blade, the bulldozer blade sort of thing, so I can really get in here really well. So if you look under here, right here is the drain pan, and this is the drain plug right there. That's the engine just above me. So this is the oil fill. There's the engine, oil fill, you guys know this. Down here is where you would, the dipstick to see how much oil you have. We have lots of oil, see there? Goes from there to there. It's black, so it needs changing. We like to change it before the busy season starts. And the oil filter is down in there. If you follow the pointer, it's touching the oil filter. That white oil filter, that's a Kubota oil filter. And the number on that baby is the same number on this new one. Right? Kubota oil filter 32430. Right? So we're changing that out right now. We got our oil wrench, oil filter wrench. Got our replacement oil filter. I got my drain pan down here. We have our 7/8 of an inch. That is the drain plug. That's the size of it. And we are about to go to town on this oil drain. Our mission is to not spill a drop of oil, not one single drop. Sometimes I'm successful, sometimes I'm not. The sucker's on there. Gosh. You ever notice some days nothing goes easy? Okay, do not panic. That's why they invented breaker bars, for breaking those things free. This is a 2.5 foot breaker bar, 7/8 inch socket. There's the drain. That's the size you want. You snap it on there. I got my goggles in case this thing goes south in a hurry. We got our pan, and yeah, she wasn't gonna leak, was she? And she's fingered loose. So the threads are good on that. It was just good and tight. A little too tight, probably didn't need to be, but with the heat and everything, they tighten up. They can be heat seized sort of thing. So it's not a big deal, but this may come out quick, so be ready. Have your rag ready. You guys know this. You can also do a funnel. I think we're good without one. Let's see what happens. Hold on to your nut. Don't lose the nut when the oil starts dropping. And boom, right into the pan. Excellent. Okay, the oil filter, you guys stay up there. You can probably see down through the engine. I'm underneath here. I got my oil filter wrench on there, and I am turning it counterclockwise. And once you turn it half counterclockwise, You don't want your head to be under there in case it starts to drip, because it will drip. Now with this finger loose, I should be able to turn it with my finger, spin it on as fast as you can. Wait for the drop. There's the drop. Catch it and pivot it, and there. Now let's come down here and dump it into your pan. That's your worst oil right there. Okay, I got the new oil filter right here. Took a little bit of clean oil and I rimmed the rubber gasket there. This is the oil filter 32430 from Kubota. I've dated it April 14th, 2023, and the hours of the machine on there, so I will know when it was changed. And just a little helpful hint for you guys. You can get the dealership's Kubota oil that they recommend. It is 15W40, but I did get them to tell me exactly what type of oil that is. It is Shell's Rotella Triple Protection Oil. This is the exact oil that Kubota dealership would sell you. They just sell you in the smaller containers with a lot of markup on it, so this will save you if you buy this. It would be good for all your Kubota tractors. This is the best oil you can get right here. So I had bought this about 6 years ago. I'm getting to the bottom of it, and I don't even want to know how much I'll have to pay for it now in 2023. But anyway, I would have saved, I got it on sale and I saved a lot of money at the time, and it's been worth its weight in gold since. So that's a little hit. You might want to do that. The only disadvantage to having this, it's hard to get this, pour this from here into a funnel into your engine, so you have to pour it into a smaller container. So this was an empty container, but I poured the Rotella oil into it, and you can transfer it with a transfer pump, or you can use a funnel and pour it in with this. And I'm reaching my hand up with the oil filter. I'm putting it on in the right spot, and I'm rotating it clockwise. You guys know this. And then the general rule of thumb is just put it on as tight as you can get it with your hand without using the wrench. And that should be tight enough. Right there's hand tight. That is good for me. Okay, take your filler plug, your drain plug, and clean it up. Inspect the gasket there. Now you use your long neck funnel like that, pour it right in here, or you can use, if you have one of these are kind of cool, a fluid pump. So that goes in there like that. It kind of holds itself. And I needed this for a transmission job I was doing, but this is just so cool. This is fun. I'm pumping it directly into the machine. So this can be fun too. Fluid pump. I'll leave a link for that if you want to pick one of those up. Sometimes these filler things are just in an awkward spot. You cannot, right? Like in this, if you didn't have a long neck funnel, it is so hard to tilt that in there. You end up spilling it everywhere. You don't want to be spilling oil. It's expensive and it's harmful to the environment. So fluid transfer pump right into the machine like that. We are right there on the dipstick. The low mark is there, the high mark is there, right in the middle, right there. But to get the most, that's cold, so there's some expansion of that maybe. But it also has to fill that oil filter, so I will run it 10 minutes and then fine tune it. I kind of like to have it 3/4 of the way between the high and the low mark. Now, guess what we got to do? That's the oil change, but have you changed the fuel filter? You don't do that every day. Let's do that next. You got to change all the filters. Underneath your air filter is your fuel filter right there. Could not be in an easier, more accessible area. So this is going to be easy. The fuel filter, we can just turn it with your wrench that. And I have this looks like this is an oil filter, a Kubota oil filter on there, functioning as a fuel filter. I guess you can do that. They're pretty much the same thing. But what I have here is the actual fuel filter, and it's a different color I got from the manufacturer. So if we screw this up, this is an oil filter 43080 that you can use as a fuel filter if you're stuck. This is the actual fuel filter, and we will put today's date on it. Okay, I ring the gasket with oil. The part number on this fuel filter is 43170. 43170. It's an official fuel filter. I filled it up with diesel fuel right to the top, and that eliminates the amount of air you're getting into the fuel system here. The Kubota tractor should be able to purge that little bit of air that we introduced, so we don't have to bleed it. It will bleed it itself. And we just put that on, and we go hand tight. You still see our date and everything right there on that side. That's good. Is hand tight, and we are good. And that's all there is to it. There's the old diesel oil. It's got diesel fuel in it, and that's the old one. And that's it. It's that easy, folks. Moving right along. We got this filter, we got the oil filter, we did the tracks, we did the final drives. What about the pilot filter? Pilot filter? What the heck's that? I'll tell you, and I'll show you. And we'll do that too. Let's do them all. Okay, come to the side, open up the side component. Right here, there's a little lever that flips down like that. This goes up, and you'll be able to see your hydraulic fuel reservoir right there. And this is where you'd fill it with hydraulic fluid. And the pilot filter is right down here, right alongside of it, right in there. You unscrew that, and there's a filter in there, and you replace the filter, put that back on. Now, Kubota dealership gave me the wrong filter. I do not have the pilot filter, so I'm not doing that today. There's other filters down inside here, the hydraulic fluid filters. We're not going to do that today. I did want to point out one important thing. When I came by here, I was looking at the dial here, my hydraulic fluid. Now that's where it should be. But when I looked at it, it was down at the bottom. It looked like I had no fluid. It's very important to take a reading on your hydraulic fluid is to collapse all your cylinders. I lifted the blade, that collapses this cylinder, pushes all the hydraulic fluid back into the reservoir. I've stretched out the arm like this, right? And I've turned the bucket up, I've retracted the tongue. All these cylinders have been pushed back as much as I can get there. And when I did that, it raises the fluid level exactly where it needs to be, right there, perfect. So if you don't do that first, if you leave these in their natural positions, not stretched out, not collapsed, it'll look like you need hydraulic fluid. You will add more hydraulic fluid and you'll have too much in there. So it's important to read your maintenance procedures and that sort of stuff, but that's an important and easy thing to overlook. So collapse all your cylinders before you take a reading on your hydraulic fluid. And you might just find that you're bang on, which I am. So I'm very happy. Don't have to replace that bad boy. Not doing that today. We'll save these for another video. A couple of filters down inside of there, and the pilot filter, I'll save that for another one. We've done enough today. Don't want to overdo it. I'm tired. I've had enough. I want to get playing with my excavator. I've had enough. Only last thing we need to do, the air filter. We don't replace it, we just clean it with a compress. You blow the dust off the air filter. take it off, put it back on the same way you found it. I'll show you. Okay, your air filter is located right here. You can give it a little clean up before you take off the top there. I did the clip in the back, so there's this clip in the front right there. Pulls right off. Let's take a look. That doesn't look too bad. We can clean that all up. I'll do that off air. We'll get right to the business part of it. There's your air filter. It slides out like this. Kubota air filter. You can see there's some very fine dust on there. It looks pretty good in there. We will clean that up and we'll blow it out from the inside out with the air compressor. Clean that and slide that back in. That's relatively new, I can tell. And we will clean that up. Now, you don't need to see me doing that. You guys know how to do this. Now there's an inner one right here that slides out, and that is very, very fine. And that looks very clean, doesn't it? Gee, beautiful. Okay. There is some dust and sediment in there. You can see right there on the bottom. See that? So I'll clean all that out. I'll clean the outside. I'll clean these and I'll stick them back in there. And we'll be good to go. Yeah, you got this. And those are your filters. You get those filters done, you're good to get back in the game. Let's get back in there. We'll do another video on other maintenance options. Greasing, hydraulic filters, that sort of thing. But right now, this is enough. Get this done. We're good to go. You got it? Now give me the thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll come back with another video for you. Get some work done and let me know what kind of trouble this machine got you into. Because I could tell lots of stories lots of things that I've done with it. Things I'm proud of, things I'm not. But anyway, another day. You got this. You do. Let's go clean our filters.